Hey, how's it going? Charles Botenston. Today we're going to be talking about something that is on everyone's minds. You know, you go through school, you want to approach that pretty girl, you want to go out for a team, you want to go get a new job. Especially now, entrepreneurialism is massive. If you're old, if you're young, if you're in school, you're out of school. Fear is the biggest thing. Literally, fear is the only thing, I shouldn't say the biggest thing, the only thing that stops people from doing what they want to do. It stops them from, like I said, approaching the pretty girl, starting the business, trying out for the team, going to the gym, eating right, eating healthy. The fear of judgment, the fear of success, the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, all of these fears. You know, you have fear of blah, blah, blah. You know, what are they going to think? What's the internet going to think? What's social media going to think? Am I going to get enough likes? Is this going to be accepted? Am I going to be enough? Is this enough? It's just, even putting out these videos, you know, like people are like, it seems like you have no fear. Are you kidding me? Right now, I'm at my parents' house right now for the weekend, and there's, over there is a house, over here is a house, over here is a house. I guarantee that they can hear me, because I'm just, A, I talk loud, and B, my parents' house is right here and it's echoing. It's like the fear. What if they hear me? What are they going to say? What are they going to think? Are they going to judge? There is fear so prevalent, not only in your own mind, but in society. Fear sells. Fear is a good book title. And there's so many areas that you can look at within fear. You know, it's like you could look at the fear of failure or the fear of rejection. And both of them are two totally different things. I had, for the longest time, fear of success. What if it all works out? What if what I'm thinking and what I want, the money, the health, the wife, or the girl, or the business, what if it all works out? Am I going to be able to handle it? Am I enough? Am I going to be able to sustain it? Or people start recognizing me on the streets. Like, you know, Dave Chappelle, he had to take years off. So this is the easy, you know, and before I actually say it, I know everyone's like, what is it? What is it? Just tell me. Listen, the biggest thing is every book talks about taking action. But what they don't know is that taking action is here. The fear is here. So you have the fear, and then they say, just take action. Yeah, obviously, if it was that easy, number one is, I know I just spent $12 for your book, but if it was that easy, everyone would be doing everything at all times. Okay, so there's two types of fear, and we'll just get into both of them real quick. And obviously the history of fear. The reason that we have fear is obvious. Everyone knows is that like 10,000 years ago, when we started domesticating everything, domesticating animals and farming and agriculture, and we started plotting the world. In other words, this is my property, that was your property, instead of like, he's over there in that forest and that group's over there in that forest. And there's a saber-toothed tiger, there's an elephant, there's disease, that's water, that person is mean, that tribe is going to attack you. Those were legit fears. But even before that, before we were even humans, we have animalistic instincts, okay? And that's really why our fear is rooted in today, is animal instincts like millions of years ago. Our brain is 2 million years old. And we're literally looking at it like it was born yesterday, and that we should get over it. Like something's wrong. Like it should be, we need to be fixed. Is that, look at everyone else doing what I want to do. Look at all the people with the money or the body or the girlfriend or the job or the great grades or they're on the team. You know, it's like, first of all, you're fine the way you are. You don't need to be fixed. Everyone that's up there that you're looking at, first of all, don't compare. That's the ego comparing. I'm going to have an entire video series on ego. Ego is running our life, which is why you have fear, and I'm not going to get into that because it's really deep into psychology and epigenetics, training your genes to be a certain way. I'll get into that at another time. But there's two types of fear. Number one is actual fear. Someone's robbing you, someone's about to fight you, there's been an attack, you heard a bomb, you smell smoke, you hear someone wake you up in the middle of the night while you're sleeping, and you're like, what was that? That is legit harmful physical fear. And then the other fear, which is, there's a correlation, but there's a complete difference. The correlation is that the reason that your brain in general has fear is because it's really the fear of unknown. You hear something, you see something, you smell something, someone's coming over, they look a little weird, or they're approaching aggressively. Immediately, right now, I even feel it. Like there's chemicals that start going throughout your body. Okay, all of the non-essential needs of your body start shutting down. Growth of your fingers, your hair, your eyes, your eyebrows, your eyes start dilating. They start getting ready. They have tunnel vision. They don't care about anything else. They just focus on the threat. So when you have a fear of approaching a pretty girl or success, launching the business, talking to that guy, asking that person out, whatever the fear is, asking for a raise, whatever that fear is, let me just back this up a little bit. Whatever that fear is, it's rooted in the physical fear. So the physical fear is the fear of unknown. So you don't know what this person's about to. You're getting into a fight, or you're going into war, you're going into combat. And this is many years ago, unless you live in an environment where this, even domestic violence, it's like my dad comes home when he's drunk and I don't know what he's going to do. So that's physical, potential harmful fear right there. So that's the fear of unknown. And your body responds and respects that fear. However, when there is something, the fear of unknown, I don't know when I launch this business if it's going to stick. I don't know if I talk to that guy or that girl if it's going to work out. That fear of the unknown is the reason we get fear. So number one is you have to respect fear, because I can't tell you what I'm about to tell you without the backstory and the reason we have it. And if we didn't have fear, we would all be dead. That's a fact. Because we would get into cars and not put in we wouldn't put on our safety belt. We would jump out of planes. We would jump off buildings and try things. We would do stupid things. But the fear is like, I don't know if we should parachute out of this plane. I don't know if we should jump off this building with a bungee cord. You know, that actual fear is good. So it keeps people alive. Getting into a fight. If you had no fear, you'd just fight everyone. You'd be like, oh, of course I can kick his butt. But that fear is like, I don't know, look at his size, look at his stature, he looks like he's built. So you have to respect fear and know, number one, it's not going anywhere. And number two, it's only just going to show up where you objectively see it. In other words, you're like, oh, okay, this is normal. Talk to like 50% of all like huge Broadway stars, and they all talk about right before getting up on stage. I forgot what his name was. This very famous guy, I don't know if he's still around, but he said literally he did hundreds of plays, maybe even thousands of plays, and every single time he got up on the stage, he would throw up before the performance. And he said one time when he didn't, he got up and it was the worst performance because he wasn't nervous. You talk about any rock star, they say that moment right before getting on stage, they get nervous and then they get up on stage and boom, they crush it because they took the action. But this one little single hack is going to change everything. And I actually got it out of the book by Eckhart Tolle. I think it's called A Beautiful World. And he talks about fear and what fear is. Fear is an emotion, okay? Just like most emotions. Most emotions of anger or anything else, it's not what happens, it's how you respond to it, okay? So when you feel depressed or you feel happy, those are all just emotions that you should feel a certain way. Something happens and you're like, I should feel bad. So then you feel it. It's an actual emotion, okay? And I'll get into this in the ego videos because it's super important. So what is an emotion? What triggers an emotion? If you go really, really deep into the brain, it's really just dendrites and synapses firing together and saying to your body, this is where you really start getting deep into the self, capital S, the ego, consciousness, enlightenment, awakening, you know, all these words, you know, where they say Buddhist monks or whatever, you know, I really feel the most successful people, the happiest people are the most enlightened because they understand what triggers their emotions. So going back to what I was saying is that what fear is just literally a synaptic energy, a synaptic just between synaptic shock between each other. That's what triggers all of your motor skills, your body, your heart, your blood, your lungs. It's literally just controlled by synaptic. And obviously, if I'm wrong, 100 I'm not 100% like on exactly the names and everything else. There's going to be smarter people out there that talk about this and say, well, actually, Charles, this is the technical term. But we all agree that it's a synaptic shock between just that triggers, okay, move his hands, okay, keep his heart beating. What was that? Did I just hear that? Keep his hair growing. There's thousands, millions of things that are going on right now. There's cells that are dying, there's cells that are being reborn. There's your heart that's pumping the blood, which is then circulating throughout your entire bloodstream. There's digestion going on, there's the endocrine system, there's all these systems, there's a nervous system, all these things are going on, and it's controlled by your brain, by electric nerves or electric shocks that just go between each other and like, and it's just all in your brain, okay? When you know that, that's what triggers fear. Fear is just a synaptic shock between dendrites. That's it. It's not physical. When you think of that, how like liberating that is. It's literally when you say, I say this now, and it may not, you're like waiting for this big gigantic thing. But when you literally say, what is fear? Fear is an emotion. An emotion, okay, that you know, you could even say the umbrella, okay? So you have all these different things. Fear is an emotion, okay? We'll put it here. And then above that, you're like, what causes the emotion? It's all of the brain synapses firing together to make your body stay alive. And when you know that, like when I'm like, why do I feel fear? And then I'm like, okay, it's literally just synapses firing in my brain. I take action. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's not physical. We feel it's physical because our palms get sweaty. Our heartbeat gets faster. We start, maybe crunching up. We start getting ready to either fight or flight, take action, not take action, approach that person, start the business or whatever. Literally just know it's synapses firing in your brain. And that's what's stopping you. When you know that, let that sit. Because that's not this revolutionary thing that you're like, oh, okay, Charles, I thought you were going to give me a to-do. I thought you were going to give me something to do right now. The to-do is after you know what fear is. And that it's an emotion. And by the way, you don't even need to feel the emotion. You choose to feel the emotion. You choose to accept the emotion. The emotion is probably going to come over you, like the feeling of love. Why do we say it just feels right? What feels right? Everything, every emotion, everything that happens is just synapses firing. That's it. Everything good in your brain, everything bad in your brain. Everything is controlled by thinking. Everything is controlled by how you think you should think about a certain situation. I only got 5 Instagram likes. I don't think this was a good dude. And then you say, oh, people didn't accept it, and then you feel bad. It's like you chose to feel bad. You chose, and I'm not saying what happened. It's the same thing. In the book, this guy talks about someone in Japan. I think it was someone in Japan, like this enlightened monk who, it was an incredible story, but they say, what makes you so calm? What makes you just go through life, just has this presence, this present moment? And we create the future. We create the past. We remember the past. Those, again, are synapses firing. Everything is synapses firing. You can create anything you want as long as you start getting control of your emotions. And what controls your emotions is how you respond to something that happens in your life. Everyone is going to go through death. Everyone is going to go through hardship. Everyone is going to go through something that they just do not want to happen. It's how you respond to that. Do you go into a deep depression and you start drinking, and then 15 years later you come out of it and you say, listen, my wife killed herself, and that's the reason I drank. That's the reason I felt bad. That's the depression I got into. I'm not saying what happened is bad. I am not saying that. I'm saying how you respond is the reason that people become successful, people become happy, people live what they want to live, they create what they want to create. Look at Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is 55. The guy has only gray hair right here. I don't know if he bleached or dyes his hair or whatever. I don't know. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. But he's got nice hair. He's still in shape. He's 55. There's a guy I work out with. He's 40. He just turned 40. Literally just turned 40. He's 15 years younger. He's got barely any hair, and anything that's left is pretty much going to be gray within the next 2 years. That is your brain. I know people are going to say that's genetics. That's bullshit. Look up epigenetics. Epigenetics is the new science finally getting accepted. It's been around for 40 years, but it's finally getting accepted by the science community because the science community didn't want to accept that your mind can control things, because billions of dollars in pills and drugs and healthcare is wrapped around needs and band-aids. That's it. So when you figure that out, your fear, your depression, your downtroddenness, also the other way around, your happiness, your joy, your acceptance, your love, everything is controlled up here, and it's how you respond. Someone calls you, say you're very confident. This is a great thing, and I'll leave you at this because it's already at 16 minutes. Say you're very confident in something. Think of something that you're really confident. Could be your body, your grades, and by the way, like I said, confidence, again, is your mind saying, I've seen this before. I know I'm good at this because I compared myself. We're fine here. We don't need to feel that much fear. Again, it's the fear of the known. The fear of the unknown, the fear of the unknown is fear. Okay? So when you know what's going to happen, when you see the movie, or when I pay $5 and I get something back, that I know what is going to happen. Okay? So, crap, I forgot what I was about to say, but it was really, really freaking good. But essentially, when you start understanding that you have control over your emotions, you literally have control over where you want to go, what you want to do, and I literally look at the world completely different. Going back to epigenetics, okay? So think of something that you're very confident in. So for me, I feel, again, this is funny, I feel I'm smart, okay? I feel I am smart. Think of something that you're confident in. It could be a sport, it could be your business, it could be your body, it could be your intelligence, it could be your looks, it could be anything, whatever, something external, all right? Say someone makes fun of you. Someone calls me an idiot. I'm confident in that area, so I go, oh, okay, I don't accept it. However, if someone said that maybe something I'm not confident in is the amount of money or the profit margins on the business. They're like, your profit margins are terrible. I'm like, yeah, I know. Because I'm not confident in that. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Is that what you're confident in or what you're not confident in, I'm choosing to accept what they're saying. So in other words, when someone calls you an asshole, someone calls you a bitch, they call you weak or you're just a mean person, or online someone will criticize you, or your photo won't get likes, or something like that. You are choosing to accept something that you are creating. They said words, and you're now actually saying, and I know this has nothing to do with fear, but you know what? I'm just on a roll right now. When someone says something and you choose to accept it, that's, again, your brain saying, you're right. You can choose not to accept it. Just like when someone calls me an idiot, I choose not to accept that. But if I go into something that I'm not too confident about, say profit margins on my business, I'll say, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I chose to accept it. You choose everything. You choose the emotions, you choose how to feel about situations, and I'm not saying you choose fear, because fear could be something actually physical. I'm not talking about physical. I'm talking about ones that, like starting business, approaching that guy or approaching that girl or whatever, going to that event, or that is made up fear, okay? And that's just synapses firing. So I hope this helped a little bit. I know this is pushing 20 minutes. Subscribe to the video, leave your comments below. I'm going to be crushing out a couple more videos. It's pretty hot outside right now, so maybe 2 or 3 more. But have an awesome day. Leave your comments below, because that's pushing the channel forward. Talk to you guys soon.